guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to do a story time. I randomly had this thought and one morning and I was like, oh my gosh, I actually remember when this happened to me, and I thought it would be quite interesting to share about it, and also I'll talk about why I decided to share that story. So anyway, if you like my chit chat girl talk videos and you want to know what this story is actually about and the purpose of it, then keep watching. Okay, so when I was about, I would say 14, maybe like 15, 14, I went to this house party drink up kind of thing. When I was younger, I used to be an interesting child, let's put it that way. Anyway, this is going to be really cut short, this story. So I went to this house party, and at the time I was seeing this guy that was like really popular. Everyone knew him. I think I can't remember whose party it was, but anyway, I was invited to it, so I was like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go. And I'm not the kind of person that like loves to drink or drink heavy drinks or whatever. Like, you know, I'm the kind of person that if I was to go to a rave or anything like that, it would be for the dancing straight up. And it was really packed, and everyone was just like drinking and everything. I had like a few like cups of drinks or whatever. Sorry. And I think I must have like left my cup like on the table or something like that, and I think as well like I was just mixing up like a whole load of different drinks. Yeah, so you might guess what happens next. The next thing that I know, I am like completely gone, like I am completely out of it. And I'm in this room. Obviously I've been put in this room. I don't know how I got into this room, but I've been put in this room, and I'm taking a lot of pauses because this was a while ago and I have a very blessed memory, and also it's a little bit, you know, to talk about. But anyways, I was put in this room, and yeah, before I knew it, I was like on this floor, and this guy walked into, like this guy came in the room, like, because you know I was not fully like gone, like fully asleep, but like I can kind of like see a little bit of like sense what was going on and stuff. And so like I could feel like this person came into the room, and like this guy, and like I think like he actually tried to do something. And oh my gosh, now that I'm thinking about this story, it's actually quite intense. Like when I thought, sorry to get distracted, Jeff, but when I thought to talk about this story, I thought it was just going to be like really light. And now that I'm like, the more I'm talking about it, the more it's like opening up, and the more I'm just like taken back by it, like, oh my gosh. But I remember at that time I was just kind of like, obviously I was drunk a lot, like I was out of it, but I was trying to like, you know, fight him off and like all of that stuff with the little strength and energy that I got. But someone came into the room, and I remember just this whole commotion like going on and stuff like that, like when he'd found out like what had just tried to like happen and stuff. And I just remember like him like going really mad and stuff, like with his cousins, and just being like, yeah, we're gonna get him, like we're gonna shoot him. And basically rounding up that story, they ran the guy out of town basically, because like what he tried to do. And I just remember like them like taking me home. And well, at that time where my home was, like I just remember them taking me home, and I was just like completely out of it and stuff. And then he just like made sure that I was like in bed and just slept away and stuff, and I was safe. And that's quite an intense story, like when I think about it actually. But it took quite a few days for that alcohol to actually like come out of my system. And we was trying to figure out like how I got like that, like how I got to that point. Like, was it that I was like mixing up like a lot of drinks, and which I actually didn't. Like, it wasn't like I mixed up like so many different drinks, but you know, and I had the feeling that my drink got spiked, because there was a point where I just like left it on the table, and then obviously it was like a house party that was like packed, and I had a feeling we was just like trying to figure out like what's going on, like what happened and stuff. And I remember even I was with my sister one time and we was on the bus, and just before the bus pulled up and we was about to get off, I was literally like, I'm gonna be sick, I'm gonna be sick, oh my god, and I literally just like threw up like everywhere on the bus. Like, it was so embarrassing, yeah. But the thing is, the state that I was like, I just didn't even care. Like, I wasn't even like embarrassed or anything. Like, I just threw up, and then we literally just like walked off the bus because I was just like, I'm gonna be sick, like, oh my gosh. And yeah, so like when that came to my mind, I thought that's like obviously one of the things that I went through when I was like a lot younger. When I was younger growing up, I always used to hang out with like older people, and I used to lie about my age, like especially when it came to like meeting guys. Sorry, I'm laughing because I'm a changed person now, you know. But I used to lie about my age, and it like I used to, if I was like 14 or whatever, like I used to be like, yeah, I'm 16 or whatever. And yeah, oh my gosh, I just thought of another story about that lying business. But yeah, so I used to lie about my age, and like growing up now, like I'm a lot older now, and I have like a whole different perception on life. And I used to be the kind of person that if I want to do something, and like if you was my close friend, boyfriend or whatever, and you tell me like not to do it, I'll be so adamant to do it. And I used to be that kind of person. I used to be the kind of person that is like, if I want to do something, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Not that like I knew everything, but I was just like, I'll just do it anyway. And I feel like when you're young, like when you're around that age, when you're like you're growing up and you're kind of finding out about yourself and you're developing, it's like you want to learn life, like you want to experience life. And I feel like even in this day and age, there is so many things that is so appetizing to our desires that we can look at something and we're like, that thing might not be particularly good for me, but I want it anyway. And even if my friend was like, nah, don't go and meet that guy, or nah, I don't think you should go out tonight, we're just gonna be like, I'm going to do it anyway. And I feel like around that age, that's the age where you're particularly like stubborn. And there are some things that obviously there's a lot of things that I learned through mistakes. So I feel like if I had the mind that I have like now, then I feel like I would have maybe grown a lot more and progressed a lot more, and not made as many stupid mistakes as I have done in my life. Because there are like two ways that we can learn really, like in life. We could either like learn through our own mistakes, or we can learn through other people's mistakes, right? Through wisdoms, through people talking to us, through people's stories. My mum could tell me something, you know, that she did, or you know, she may have experience in, and I could like, or it could be my friend. It doesn't have to be like your mom or your dad talking to you, but it could be someone that, you know, is really wise and has really gone through like a lot of things, and we can listen to what they've been through and actually learn through it. And I know that it's so tempting, like as being young, to just want to live your own life and YOLO and do your own thing. But I honestly, like when I was thinking about telling this story, like I honestly thought to myself, like there are really some things that I actually didn't have to go through. And if I had the mind that I have now, like now, I'm more prone to like listen. Like if my mom was to say to me, you know, I don't think you should do this, or maybe you should think about that, like I would actually take it on board. And I feel like that saves me, like that actually saves me. And or you know, if someone that I valued or someone that was actually genuine about my well-being was to say something, like I feel like I'll actually take it on board and be like, actually, do you know what, maybe I'm going to do that, because I'm not trying to rush with life. And I feel like that's partly one of the reasons why when you're young you want to be wild, like you want to wild out, you want to like do your own thing, because it's like you're trying to like rush with life, you're trying to get the experience of an 18-year-old when you're just 14. And it's like you cut out your whole like experience for that age just to gain the experience of an 18-year-old. And then you don't realize, oh my gosh, I actually miss the purity of being a child, or like I actually miss the innocence of just like being a normal kid. And sometimes like I look back at my life and I'm like, wow, like I was actually growing too fast. Like I actually wish that I experienced being just having that innocence as a kid, or just like having that purity as a child, and not exposing myself to so many things that can affect the way that I view things in life, or can affect like my relationships later on in life. And the reason why I really wanted to do this girl talk was because although that time in my life like just came to me, like that story of when I went to this house party and I nearly got like raped and my drink got spiked, and you know, like I lived that crazy moment. But it was really like it was really laid on my heart, like that sometimes I don't know what it's like for guys, but I know like being a young female, like sometimes we can desire like that older life, and we can look at people that are like 18, 20, 21, and we can look at like the way that they are, the way that, you know, they're living life and they're partying and they're dressing and they're getting all the guys and all of that stuff, and we can desire that. But we don't really know what causes some people to behave the way that they behave. And we can look at that and be like, yeah, that's the way forward, like that's the way to live, when really it's not. And I feel like if you have all of this positive influence around you, then that's better for you to take. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, take that and apply that to your life, rather than looking at something that is so negative that later on, if you really try to imagine yourself, like when I'm 25 or when I'm 30, is this how I really want to portray myself? And sometimes we can think, oh, do you know what, you know, I'm just going to be flaunting myself, and I'm just going to like be giving myself to every single guy, and I'm just going to be like going to every single drink up, and I'm just going to be whining at every party until I'm kind of like 21, or until I'm like, you know, 25. That's when I'll calm down my party life. And sometimes we think that life works like that, and life really doesn't work like that. Like, we actually don't have as much control to life as we think we do as an individual. Like, there are forever influences that affect our decisions, and if we're not cautious, like the way that we actually make our decisions or the way that we actually live our lives, then we're going to grow up with a lot of regret. So we're going to grow up with a lot of baggage, should I say, like baggage that we're going to have to start taking off and dropping when we actually want to start like living life, like when we actually want to start progressing in life, when we actually want to start being respected. And meanwhile, when you was 14, 15, 16, 17, hitting to 18, like you've completely like ruined your life, and you've completely sowed so many bad seeds like in your future, that by the time you now want to gain that respect from the world, by the time you now want to like present yourself as an important person in your eyes and in people's eyes, it's going to be harder for you to do that. And I just felt like, do you know what, I want to share this and I want to talk about that, because there might be like some young people that was me at that age when I was like younger, who you know, go out and you think that the way to attract attention or is being a certain way that is not good, you know. Or there might have been someone that was me at that age that will go to this drink up or go to like this party and will be like careless, because God knows what was going through my mind at that time. Do you get what I mean? That put me in that position. And I can probably guarantee you that if I played back round that time in my life, I probably wasn't even the happiest in my life. Probably like it wasn't the most exciting time of my life to be like that. Do you get what I'm saying? And so it's like, to some people it may look from the outside like, oh my gosh, yeah, she's living life, you know, her boyfriend is this, like he's well known, like they ran this guy out of town, like da 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 da, and all that stuff. But you don't know like what's going on the inside of me or of that person. So I wanted to like really encourage us ladies, to be honest, and just really say like, sometimes it's not actually a bad idea to take advice from people. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to be grown in your mentality, like in your way of thinking. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to be mature even when you're young. Like, I don't believe that maturity just kicks in at a particular age. Like, you can be young, like you can be a 14-year-old and so mature. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, you don't have to be dumb until 14. You don't have to make dumb decisions until you reach 18. There is no legal age for maturity. We are surrounded by so many things that influence the things that we do. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, especially with social media, there is always a particular image that we have to mount up to. There's always a particular goal, you know, that we have to strive for. There is always something that we can wake up to in the morning and look at our phone, a notification of something, and we just think, oh my gosh, I have to strive for that today. You know, and look at a picture and be like, oh my gosh, look at how many likes she's got on that picture. Oh my gosh, look at her body. Oh my days. Oh my gosh, do you know what, I'm going to post a picture like that today and see how many likes I'm gonna get from a guy. Like, life is so much more than that. Like, we can, even from when we're young, like even from when we're 14, we can be influencing other people to look at life from a different perspective. Not from the perspective of, if you sell yourself, if you sell your body, if you sell your most appealing part about your body, then you're going to get accepted. We don't live life to get acceptance from people, and we have to remember that. And you don't have to follow what other people are doing, because you don't know what it's costing them to get the publicity that they're getting. So it's about being that individual, and it's about like asking yourself, like, do I actually have to go through this, or has someone been through this, and maybe I can listen to how they dealt with it and see what I can take from that. Of course, we all go through different things in life. It may be the same thing, but we all have our own different purposes in life, and not what I will go through you will go through. But I just believe that we can always learn from each other, and if it can bring positivity, then let it be so. That's all I've got to say for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. My story was really short because I kind of like cut it down, and the purpose of it was just me just saying, do you know what, if I had the mind that I have today, I probably wouldn't have experienced that, because if that went any further than it did, I probably wouldn't even be sitting here sharing this story. Like, there could be 1,000 other routes that I could have taken that would have just taking me to this dark and horrible place in my life. And I'm so grateful that it was cut short and I was waking up from this nightmare. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I'm going to be doing more girl talk chit chat, story time. So hopefully you'll enjoy them and see you in my next video. Bye.